What is the ideal Spanish course for you, especially if you say or you have your goal to master Spanish going from one level to the next? And I explained that in English first, later on in other videos, of course, in Spanish, but now in English. Normally, time is gold. People that are very busy, and your agenda I know is very busy, they need the specific conditions, which means that actually I select for you the story of the week. And then you can read when I recorded that story for you in the time you want to. So I'll send you the story and I record that story in audio as well. And the story has to be short because I know time is minimal. But when you start with a story per week, reading that story in the time you have, or listening to the story as well, let's say for example here, from this magazine here, National Geographic, I got many stories here. So I'm going to maximize that here. We can talk about any topic. And one single story can provide you with the connection in vocabulary, because the reading gives you that. Kind of strange, but it's actually something that the neurologist Andrew Haberman online, he shows the evidence why reading helps you in the remembering of pronunciation as well, especially because you know that Spanish for English-speaking people is not that easy. As you know, Spanish initially seems to be difficult, but the good thing is Spanish is a regular language. Vowels are pronounced always the same. Mostly, we'd say in more than 99% of the cases. So when you start reading an article, one of those many articles that I have in here, you'll start get connected. So you connect your Spanish with your imagination as well, because stories are essential, necessary, especially when you know that the story is there visually for you, recorded as well. Now, the thing is, when you have the many stories in here that I have, of course, updated stories all the time, you will remember better. Fictional and non-fictional. That's for the first. Now the next part. Non-fictional stories are effective too. Let's say that one here referring to Colombia, where you see that normally the business languages here included if you have to interact with people from Colombia or from Latin America or Spanish-speaking people, where you see that actually all those non-fictional topics might be very interesting for you as well. So that you have stories to imagine and the other non-fictional things in here of your interest, so that you say, okay, you have the other language, you have both worlds, fictional, non-fictional for you. That's the part. And like I said, you can read the story during your flights, or you can listen to the story as well. Either or both. And that's important for you, just 20 minutes a day to keep your language alive, even in 10 minutes, because those stories are no longer than 5 minutes usually, and the other 5 minutes for you to think about them. Keep your Spanish connected so that you know the future today with your language is that when you keep your language connected, when you keep reading, when you keep that other part of the brain that you once activated and you are planning to reactivate now, here I have the tools for you from a different perspective and considering your very busy agenda. That's going to help you because I'm going to record that for you week after week. And now you have here two possibilities. Number one, you can type the question that you might have in the WhatsApp, and in the given moment that you have, you will receive the answer. Normally it's immediately, but if I'm busy in class, I will then later on answer to you. So you have the interaction in Spanish about the questions that you might have, and that interaction is very important. So that's what WhatsApp allows us to do today. That's the one thing. And the second is once a week too, you create a short report, like between 5 and 10 minutes writing to consolidate language, to consolidate all those linguistic elements, like the vocabulary that you have been learning, producing, because in the language you need to produce, a little challenge has to be there to get a little bit out of the comfort zone, but not that much. The intention is not to create stress, but still be effective and productive. And that is how I always consider the condition of time for you. Either because you meet me once or twice for a brief short of time, depending on you, but you meet me here virtually and whenever you can directly, because I know about your agenda. So I have all the conditions, and especially because I select, like I said, all the material for you. I keep your Spanish alive, I interact with you, and you answer in the moment you have time. Because here we don't have a specific time frame, so to speak, or in a specific schedule. No, interaction in Spanish with material created exclusively for you. That's what I provide with Spanish.